Don't look behind you. Whatever you do, don't look behind you. Are you looking? Well, if you are, then stop. Why? Because there may be something right behind you that wants to harm you, like someone watching you from the shadows. As much as we would like to live in a perfect world, unfortunately, this is not true. There are some people out there who really enjoy doing bad things. You might think such people only exist in movies, but this is not true. Welcome to our channel. And today, let's find out about a mysterious man who kept visiting a teenager's house. It was an ordinary night. 17-year-old Gabriel was home alone. His parents, Carlos and Isabella, had traveled to visit relatives and wouldn't return until the next day. The house was in a quiet neighborhood. Tall walls surrounded it on 3 sides. Only the front wall was open to the street. The backyard was spacious with tall oak trees lining the fence. No one could see into the yard from the road, and the house had no neighbors on either side. Inside, Gabriel was enjoying the freedom. He played games on his computer and watched horror shows late into the night. Around 10 p.m., while watching a particularly creepy episode, he heard a sound coming from the backyard. A dry crack, like a branch snapping. "Probably just the wind," he muttered, trying to brush it off. But the sound came again, closer this time. Curious, he got up and walked to the glass door that opened to the backyard. He turned on the outdoor light. Nothing. The lawn was empty and the back gate was shut. Gabriel returned to the couch, but the feeling of being watched lingered. He glanced out the side window and thought he saw something move among the trees in the neighbor S yard. "You're imagining things," he told himself. Half an hour later, while gaming, he heard another sound. This time, clearer, soft footsteps on the grass. He froze. He turned off the monitor and sat in complete silence. The footsteps continued, slowly approaching the glass door. Gabriel stood up cautiously, grabbed his phone and went to the kitchen where he had a better view of the backyard. He turned off all the lights in the house and peeked through the curtain. That's when he saw it. A silhouette standing in the middle of the yard, motionless, facing the house. Gabriel stepped back, heart racing. He grabbed a knife from the drawer and called the police. "There's someone in my backyard. I'm alone. Please come quickly." The dispatcher told him to lock himself in a safe room and wait. Gabriel ran to his bedroom, locked the door, and turned off the lights. He stayed silent, listening to every sound in the house. Moments later, the footsteps returned, now outside his bedroom window. He gripped the knife tightly, trying not to make a sound. The doorknob to the balcony began to turn, but it was locked. The intruder tried to force it, but failed. Gabriel heard someone running away. Moments later, sirens. The police arrived and searched the backyard. They found footprints in the grass, handprints on the glass door, and a ladder leaning against the back wall. He climbed the wall, one officer said. He was probably watching the house for days. Gabriel, still in shock, told them everything. The officers said similar cases had occurred in the area, intruders targeting homes where they knew the residents were alone. That night, Gabriel didn't sleep. In the days that followed, he installed cameras, reinforced the locks, and started sleeping with the lights on. But what he didn't know was that this wouldn't be the last time. 3 days later, with his parents back home, Gabriel tried to return to normal. But something felt off. The backyard camera had recorded strange movement during the night, a shadow passing quickly at 3:17 a.m. He showed his parents, who dismissed it as a cat or a reflection. But Gabriel knew better. The next night, he decided to stay awake. Sitting on the couch, lights off, watching the backyard through the window. At 2:45 a.m., he saw movement. A figure ran across the yard, crouched low. Gabriel stood up, grabbed his phone, and started recording. The figure stopped, looked directly at the window. Gabriel backed away. The figure slowly approached the glass door, but before it could do anything, the motion sensor lights turned on and the figure ran, disappearing over the wall. This time, Gabriel had video evidence. He showed it to the police, who launched a deeper investigation. This behavior is unusual, one officer said. He's not trying to steal, he's trying to scare. Gabriel began living in constant alert. Every sound, every shadow, every flicker made him jump. A week later, during a thunderstorm, the power went out. Gabriel was alone again. His parents had gone to a dinner party and wouldn't be back until late. He lit candles and tried to stay calm. But around 10 p.m., he heard that familiar sound. Footsteps in the backyard. He ran to his room, locked the door, and grabbed his phone. With the power out, the cameras were offline. The doorknob to the balcony began to turn. Gabriel held the knife with trembling hands. "Go away," he whispered. A flash of lightning lit up the yard for a second and he saw it. The figure was there, standing still, soaked from the rain, head tilted, watching. Gabriel screamed. Minutes later, his parents arrived. The figure had vanished. The police were called again, but nothing was found. Since that night, Gabriel was never left alone again. The cameras were upgraded to battery-powered systems. Alarms were installed. The wall was reinforced. But even with all the security, he knew the stranger in the backyard was still out there, waiting, watching, and maybe, just maybe, waiting to return. But why did the man keep visiting Gabriel's house? Was he targeting the wrong house? Let's find out. Police investigations revealed that the man had been visiting houses in the area for months, each time choosing a residence with no one present. But what was his motive? We looked at the footage again. Who was this mysterious man? The first thing we noticed was his choice of targets. He visited houses that were well maintained, indicating the residents were likely away on vacation. Next, we examined the dates. The visits occurred every few weeks. Our suspect wasn't interested in stealing. There was no forced entry or signs of struggle. He wasn't targeting specific valuables. Also, he seemed uninterested in personal belongings or documents. We analyzed the surveillance footage, noting the man's actions. He never stayed long. He didn't touch any property. Instead, he paced, leaned against walls, sometimes looking directly at the cameras. We gathered that he wanted to be seen. After studying the man's appearance, we compared it to missing persons reports. No matches. We checked local shelters and hospitals. Nothing. This man was a ghost. He appeared and disappeared without a trace. We continued examining the videos. Something puzzled us. On clear nights, the man chose spots with overgrown grass or tall trees, blocking most of the house. He preferred darkness. Finally, we studied his behavior patterns. He would arrive around 2 a.m., spend 10 to 15 minutes surveying the yard, then leave. He never entered any property. This routine suggested meticulous planning. He wasn't targeting random houses. Each visit was deliberate. The man was careful, patient, and persistent. These traits indicated a troubled mind. This was more than a simple trespassing case. We were dealing with a psychological mystery. What was this man's story? Why was he haunting these homes? Meanwhile, Gabriel tightened security. Cameras, motion sensors, and alarms were installed. But those measures brought more questions than answers. One night, a notification popped up on Gabriel's phone. The backyard camera had detected movement. It was him. The man stood motionless near the shed. Gabriel checked other angles. The man was nowhere to be seen. But why was he here? Was he scouting the premises? Had he changed his routine? Gabriel decided to confront the man. He armed himself with a baseball bat and crept closer to the window. The man remained still, but he was too far away. Gabriel needed a better vantage point. He exited through the back door. Moving silently towards the oak tree, Gabriel climbed it. From above, he had a clear view. The man was indeed there, leaning against the wall. Gabriel hesitated, unsure what to do next. Should he call the police, yell, or stay hidden? Then the man straightened up, looked directly at Gabriel, and waved. Startled, Gabriel jumped down the tree. The man was now walking towards the fence. Gabriel followed discreetly. As the man neared the corner, Gabriel emerged from his hiding spot. The man paused, startled by Gabriel's presence. They stared at each other for a moment. Then the man turned and fled. Gabriel rushed back home, his heart pounding. He locked himself inside and dialed 911. The police arrived, but the man was gone. Gabriel described what he'd seen, but the officers seemed skeptical. They suggested it might have been a figment of his imagination. Gabriel insisted he was telling the truth, but no one believed him. Days turned into weeks, but the man never returned. Gabriel hoped he'd scared him off, but deep down, he knew the fear of being watched would always linger.